What's up, nerds and geeks? My name is OMG, WTF, LOL, FTW, BRB. Welcome back to more Total Extreme Wrestling 2016. We are playing as the WWF in the year 2002. Still booking the invasion angle, on the road to WrestleMania, and we're finally at the Royal Rumble. And I think it's safe to say that the Royal Rumble might be everyone's favorite pay-per-view. I know it's mine. And I don't know if I've ever gotten to a Royal Rumble on my channel. If I have, it was in my WWE playthrough, but I don't think I made it that far. So this is the first Rumble I ever got to book, so I'm excited about it, seeing how it goes. Usually when you do book the Royal Rumbles, they actually don't get rated too well. I see a lot of YouTubers afraid to put it as their main event. I, of course, am not, because I am under the impression that if you're going to call a pay-per-view Royal Rumble, the Royal Rumble better be ending the damn pay-per-view. I mean, you're also, I feel like it's more of a prestige to win the Royal Rumble than it is a championship. And I know it's kind of weird to say that, because the whole reason you want to win the Royal Rumble is to, win the championship at WrestleMania in the main event. But that's kind of the thing. Like, to win the Royal Rumble is to win history. Not only are you making history by being one of the few men to win the Royal Rumble, but at the same time, you get to go on and perhaps, make more history by winning a world championship in the main event of WrestleMania. You get my drift? Or you could lose. Either way, you're making history. So, the Royal Rumble should always end as the pay-per-view is what I'm saying. Even if it's going to be crap, I don't think it'll be too bad because, my Royal Rumble's pretty filled with stars. But then again, we'll see, because I have ran Royal Rumbles, just never on my channel, and the ones I have, usually, they don't do bad, but they're not like what you think it would be. But without further ado, I've got really nothing else to say here. There were no locker room incidents, so there's nothing to cover there, so let's just jump into the Royal Rumble. We got a couple of pre-show matches. Everybody... Hold on. I forgot to do one thing, obviously. And that's to take us out of Puerto Rico. Where the hell were we at for Sunday Night Heat? Looks like we were in the Great Lakes, actually, so let's go back there to the Lucas Oil Stadium, and now we can run the show. Alright, better. We open up the show with the pre-show, by the way. Remember, this is the pre-show. Everybody on our roster is on the card tonight. Solid 60C here in a pre-show bout that had decent wrestling, but not much weighing heat. The Flock, Perry Saturn, and Big Boss Man going over, I don't know if we can call them the right two censor anymore, considering if you watched Heat, he did just get fired, but going over Val Venus and the Good Father in 8 minutes, 25 seconds after Perry Saturn defeats the Good Father with the flying elbow drop. Of course, Boss Man and Saturn have great chemistry when teaming with each other. Boss Man with an in-ring performance of a 61. Saturn with the highest in-ring performance of a 67. Good Father with the weakest of a 53. And Val Venus with a 59. We then move on to a bit of a Royal Rumble preview here. Pretty much everyone who wasn't on the card got to be in this Royal Rumble preview, minus those four guys. We go to a solid 64C here. This brings me a little bit of promise, considering... Well, then again, they are different. Those are timed entrances, so that could affect it. But either way, solid 64C, subpar wrestling, and little heat here. Seriously? I let the game decide who was going to win this, right? Yeah, I said, go ahead and let whoever you want to win this. And it chose Sean O'Haire? He's not even on the roster. Yes, I called up Sean O'Haire alongside Shannon Moore and... Well, we can see it all here. Who else did I call up? There was one more person. I called up one person from each place. Oh, Rob Conway. I was going to call up Flash Flanagan because I was trying to call up all three world champions. But Flash Flanagan actually isn't under a contract with us, so I went with the next best thing and went with the former world champion of OVW, which was Rob Conway. So the NWA Wildside World Champion, Sean O'Haire, wins the Battle Royal, apparently, in 15 minutes, 27 seconds, with the other members of the Final Four being Sabu, Tommy Dreamer, and Just Incredible. What an interesting Final Four. Just Incredible, though? Why? Interesting. Sabu was the final elimination. Tommy Dreamer got the most eliminations. Disco Inferno seen off his game. Sabu was really off his game. Al Snow is improving in Rumble. Alex Wright's improving in performance. And Sabu is improving in technical. So there you go, Sean O'Hare. Enjoy your random victory. As we go to open up the show with our opening match of the night, which gets a solid 82B rating here. We have a decent match. Canyon and Hugh Morris goes over Power Plant in 13 minutes, 26 seconds in a back-and-forth contest after Hugh Morris defeats Sean Stasiak. No powerbomb. Get the powerbomb out of here. No powerbomb. Just by pinfall. After botched interference from Lord Steven Regal, Canyon and Hugh Morris win the WCW World Tag Team titles. Finally, they get it done. I'd imagine the ending here being Sean Stasiak holding Hugh Morris as, Regal's getting ready to hit him with the power of the punch. Hugh Morris ducks it. Stasiak gets hit with the power of the punch. Actually, you know what? No, Canyon. That's what it was. Canyon was getting held. Canyon ducks. Stasiak gets hit with the power of the punch. Canyon tags in Hugh Morris, because I guess they were close. Follow me, guys. Hugh Morris gets the tag pretty much. He comes in, rolls Sean Stasiak up, while Canyon goes after, Mark Jindrak. 1, 2, 3. Canyon and Hugh Morris are the new tag team champions. Canyon carried the match in terms of in-ring performance. Regal doing good work ringside. Hugh Morris had an in-ring performance of a 69. Canyon with an 81, obviously the highest. Sean Stasiak with the lowest of a 65, and Mark Jindrak with a 68. Hugh Morris is improving in performance, and Mark Jindrak is improving in both technical and performance skills. As we move on to the next segment, which is just Canyon and Hugh Morris celebrating with each other that they just, they finally won the big one, nerds and geeks. 74 B- there. As we move on to our first of many backstage segments featuring Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon. These are going to be your prototypical, you spin that big wheel, superstars come in and pick out a ball, and then they get their entry number into the Royal Rumble. All these are going to be freestyles. There's nothing really specific here. I'd imagine probably in the opening one, Vince and Shane are kind of poking, talking shit to each other and all that. Trish and Stephanie, even though Chuck Palumbo and Test and Albert are in this angle, I kind of did this on purpose, because it was kind of also not only to serve as Chuck Palumbo and TNA picking their numbers, but also dropping Trish and Stacy off, because Stacy and Trish are going to be, your prototypical sexy girls that spin the wheel for the wrestlers. So they drop them off. They get their numbers. They probably talk a little bit of trash to each other. And if I remember correctly, I think they all would probably look satisfied, because I don't think anyone got a really shitty number, if anything. So either way, Jerry Lawler pretty weak. Thanks a lot. Crowd got hotter. Shane McMahon's most likely going to be pissed at me by the end of this, so we're probably going to have to give him a lot of money, because he wanted to be unscripted, and there's no way that was happening. Albert looked good, so all in all, good stuff. 85B+ as we move on to the next match, I believe. Yes, sir. Solid 82B here, and a decent matchup. Lance Storm going over Eddie Guerrero in 9 minutes, 32 seconds after using a foreign object to his advantage. So, and maybe, at one point, Chavo slides in the Canadian Championship for Eddie to use. Eddie does the whole maybe slam on the mat thing. Lance Storm talks the ref out of it. Or maybe, Lance Storm gets up before the referee sees it or something. Because I'd like to imagine the referee was down. He's supposed to be distracted, but he'd be down at this time. He's probably getting up. Lance Storm gets up before then. I don't know where I'm going with this. I was going to say he gets up before the referee, and then he hits Eddie with the title, actually, before the ref can see it, and slides it out. Either way, somehow he hits him with the foreign object, apparently, because I wanted this to be a tainted victory to kind of, not only keep the feud going along, but show that Storm isn't afraid to, lower himself to Eddie's standards, pretty much. Storm makes his 15th defense of the Canadian Championship. Eddie Guerrero with a 76 in-ring performance, and Lance Storm also with a 76 in-ring performance. So both superstars even with each other tonight, and producing a far better match than they should have, I guess. Lance Storm's improving and flying. Good stuff. We go into a backstage segment here, which gets a 68C+. I believe this is actually the only segment, besides, of course, the Royal Rumble, which we'll find out, and when we get to it, that I actually wrote out. So Moving on to it, we see the WWF Women's Champion Lita. She's warming up for her upcoming title defense against WCW's Daphne later on tonight. When we hear a knocking on the door, and she tells them to walk in, and in walks Jeff Hardy. And Jeff walks in and he says, "Hey Lita, my match is coming up soon, but I wanted to stop by to wish you good luck tonight. I know things between Matt and I haven't been cool as of late, and I hate that I haven't had your back in these past few weeks with the flock." Lita then goes on to stop Jeff from, continuing on, and she says, "You know what, Jeff, don't worry about it. You've had your own battles to fight, Mr. Future Intercontinental Champion. But I appreciate you stopping by, and you know what? Hey, good luck to you tonight." And then Jeff's just like, "Hey, thanks, Lita." And, Jeff goes to walk out because he's got his match coming up, and he goes and opens the door, and he sees Matt Hardy standing there, probably with a bouquet of flowers or some bullshit, because Matt's cheesy like that. And Matt's just like, "What are you doing here?" And, of course, Jeff just doesn't want any really much to deal with this right now. He's just like, "You know what? I just stopped by to wish Lita luck. That's all." And Matt's just quick like, "Lita doesn't need your luck, okay? So just leave." And then Jeff's just, whatever, man. And he leaves and probably, closes the door while we hear Lita starting yelling at Matt or some bullshit like that. 68C plus as we move on to the next segment here. Nothing too special here. We just see Taker and Kane, I guess, warming up. I'd imagine Kane just mostly sitting in the background, doing that whole thing with his glove while Taker's sitting there punching a punching bag or something like that, getting ready for the WWF title match later on tonight. 75B minus, by the way. We move into our next match, which, holy hell almighty, solid 80B here. How, Jim? How? And a decent matchup. Raven going over Bradshaw in 9 minutes, 33 seconds by pinfall with the Raven effect. We had a lot of interference in this matchup. Tommy Dreamer and Sabu came out and they attacked Raven. Perry, Saturn, and Bossman, they came out and they attacked Bradshaw. But at the end of the day, Raven hits the Raven effect, most likely on a weapon, probably a steel chair. 1, 2, 3, retains the championship for his second defense. Raven was really off his game and somehow still produced an 80B. I'll take it. Bradshaw had a 76. Raven only 1 point behind him with a 75. Moving on to the next segment here. Once again, one of those Royal Rumble segments I talked about before. This time an 88B+. We got Chris Jericho, Christian, Steve Austin, and Rhino all back there. I'd imagine, there's already a little bit of tension because remember, if you watched Raw, Jericho said that he was going to eliminate Stone Cold here tonight. So we got a little bit of tension between them there. Of course, we got both the proteges there. Christian probably pokes fun that, not only is he going to win the Intercontinental Championship, but he's in the Royal Rumble here tonight. Stuff like that, back and forth. They picked their numbers, so on and so forth. Got the crowd hotter. Stacy Keibler looked good. Jericho was good. Austin was fantastic. Rhino came across well. All in all, good stuff. 88 B+ rating. Can't complain. Move on to the next segment. We go to our Fatal 4-Way Intercontinental Championship match for the vacated Intercontinental Championship. 78 solid B rating here, and about that had great wrestling. And about that had great wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Rhino goes over Christian, Rob Van Dam, and Jeff Hardy in 11 minutes 43 seconds by defeating Christian with the gore, winning himself the Intercontinental Championship for the first time in his career. And I think the first time ever, to be honest, because I don't believe Rhino was Intercontinental Champion in real life. So I did something WWE didn't do. But either way, the ending to this match, I'd imagine, it's back and forth at some point. Maybe Rob Van Dam or Jeff, they're both daredevils. One of them dive out of the outside onto each other. Something like that. Christian probably setting up someone for a spear. Maybe going for you know what? Actually, I got an idea. Rob Van Dam, he hits the frog splash on Jeff Hardy. He does that whole roll-up thing afterwards. Christian looks like he's going for the spear during that time. I don't know how this ended, guys. I'm completely bullshitting you. I want to come up with a cool ending, but, where it kind of comes out of nowhere, where Christian's trying to get the spear and Rhino catches him off guard with a gore and gets the win. But that wouldn't make much sense because the person that Christian was going to spear would then break up the pin, would they not? Either way, end of discussion. Rhino wins the Intercontinental Championship. Who cares? Jeff Hardy had an in-ring performance of a 76, the weakest of the matchup. Christian with an 83, Rob Van Dam with an 84, and Rhino with the highest in-ring performance of an 89. Rhino's improving in Rumble. Christian, wrong person. Jeff Hardy is improving in Technical. We move on to the next segment here, which is just backstage. Ric Flair psyching Chris Benoit up. I could have wrote something out here, but, I think we get the gist of what's happening here. You got him tonight, baby. Kurt Angle's never beaten you. You're going to go out there, woo, you're going to make him tap out. You're going to end his career like the crippler you are, stuff like that, hyping him up for his WCW championship match later on tonight. Rick came across well as well as Chris Benoit, I should say. We jump into our women's championship match, which gets a solid 64C here. And about that had subpar wrestling and little heat to it. Daphne goes over Lita in 7 minutes 40 seconds with the Daphnes and wins the WWF Women's Championship. Remember, this was a hardcore, no disqualification match. Call it what you want. Aussie rules is what I've used. Pretty much weapons are allowed. And I'd imagine that's how Daphne wins, is just gets a weapon and probably starts beating down on Lita with the kendo stick. And then maybe hits the Daphnes, whatever the hell that is. Raven did some good work ringside. Daphne had an in-ring performance of a 52. Lita with a 65. And thank God the fans are done booing Daphne for no reason. Holy hell, this did good. Solid 80. What am I talking about? Can I not count? Solid 90 A rating here. Another Royal Rumble entry thing. This time we got Diamond Dallas Page and the Giant, who are probably going back and forth. They've got a little bit of a feud going on. Giant probably he's satisfied with his number. DDP's probably like, eh. We got Kane coming in, and Kane he picks up his number. DDP's probably like, oh, what did you get? And Kane just kind of stands there all menacing. Things like that. Typical moments. I'm not good at coming up with these, I guess, off the top of my head, even though technically they're not since I booked them in. But you know where I'm going with these little Royal Rumble entries where you have little fun backstage skits between people you never thought you would see. DDP came across well. Kane came across well. And that's that. We jump into a backstage angle where we see Raven, we see Daphne, we see Vampiro, Bossman, Perry Saturn, all members of the flock. 71B-, where Raven, he's standing there. We got Bossman and Perry Saturn. They're standing side by side. Vampiro's behind Raven. Daphne's probably all, admiring her championship, whereas Raven just starts, saying, we've got 2 titles down, 1 more to go, pretty much telling Billy Kidman, I know you're WCW, but wrong place, wrong time, pretty much. And we get ready for that matchup, I believe. No, we do not. I lied to you guys. We jump into the WWF Tag Team Championship matchup, which gets an 83 B+ rating. Bout that had superb wrestling and good heat to it. The Steiner brothers, Scott and Rick, goes over Test and Albert in 12 minutes, 45 seconds after Scott Steiner defeats Test with the Steiner device. We have Trish Stratus. She, of course, caused a distraction on Scott. Wasn't enough to do it. Scott and Rick win the WWF Tag Team titles for, I forget what time I said it was. Either way, though, Scott Steiner carried the match in terms of in-ring performance. Scott and Rick Steiner have great chemistry, as we already know. Not enough selling, but doesn't seem like the fans cared too much. Rick Steiner with an impressive 81 in-ring performance, and that's the lowest. Scott Steiner with a 99, only 1 point below 100. Come on, Scott, you couldn't have pulled in that extra point for me. Albert had an in-ring performance of an 87. Test with an 89. All in all, great match to a feud that I didn't even think was going to do all that well and ended up being the best feud leading into the pay-per-view. We then go to just a freestyle segment. We see The Rock, he's doing his whole jumping around, warming up, stuff like that, getting ready for his title defense later on tonight. Nothing too special. I'm not doing any promos. It's just kind of hyping up the fact that this is going to be an epic. We're done with talk. It's down to fight, pretty much. We go into, wow, this did really good. 79 solid B for the Cruiserweight Championship match. Decent wrestling, not much weight and heat. Vampiro goes over Billy Kidman in 8 minutes, 2 seconds with the nail in the coffin after extraction from Tori Wilson and Daphne, because we'll go to the road agent notes. It says Daphne there, to win the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. I'd imagine maybe Billy Kidman going to the top rope, and that's when Daphne goes after Tori. Billy hears Tori, screaming, and that's when Vampiro takes advantage, tosses him off the ropes, hits the nail in the coffin. 1, 2, 3. Vampiro is the new WCW Cruiserweight Champion. He had an in-ring performance of a 70. Billy Kidman with a 66. This match had no right being this good. But I ain't even mad. I'm going to take a drink real quick. And then we just go to another freestyle segment where, again, Bossman and Perry Saturn are standing on, opposite sides of the flock. We got Vampiro, who's, I'd imagine this time, underneath Raven's, legs, holding, kind of, biting down on the Cruiserweight Championship. We got Daphne, who's kind of, probably standing, I'd imagine maybe Vampiro's under both Daphne and Raven's legs, while Daphne's, standing in front of Raven, hugging her championship, and Raven's just doing the whole Raven pose with the hardcore title. Things like that. 73, B-. Daphne's getting better at a gimmick. So we move on to our next segment here, as we get a Taker versus Rock video package. Wow. 95 solid A rating here for the video package. Hopefully the match lives up. We go on to said matchup. 86 B+. That ain't that bad. 86 B+, in an unbelievable match, nerds and geeks. The Undertaker goes over The Rock in 18 minutes, 6 seconds with the Tombstone Pile Driver of all things, winning the WWF World Heavyweight Championship from the Great One. Back and forth action, no cheating, no nothing, just two good guys going at it, which led to one mistake probably. Rock maybe going for the rock bottom, I don't know, maybe going for a people's elbow. I can't imagine how any of this leads to a Tombstone Pile Driver, but I can see a rock bottom leading into a choke slam, or a people's elbow leading into a choke slam, and said choke slam leading into the Undertaker doing the whole, thumb across the throat thing before leading into a Tombstone Pile Driver that gets him the win to become the new WWF World Heavyweight Champion. The Rock had an in-ring performance of a 97. Taker was 1 point below The Rock with a 96. Uh-oh, maybe it was a mistake. Rock is improving in Rumble and technical skills. Okay, we go to another solid A rating with a 92 backstage. The final Rumble entry of the night. We still see Vince and Shane, they're bickering. Trish and Stratus, what am I saying? Trish and Stacy, they're standing there looking pretty. Triple H walks in, most likely with Stephanie as always. Also Goldberg's there. Both superstars pick their number. They have a bit of a stare down. It's getting a little bit of tense in the room. And, they Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon, they put them apart. Save it for the Rumble. And there we have it. Goldberg looked good. All the numbers have been picked. And it's almost time for the Rumble, baby. But before we can get into Rumble, we still have more matches to come. This is a 4-hour pay-per-view by the guys. I didn't mention this, but 4-hour pay-per-view. Royal Rumble's worth it. It's WrestleMania time. It's a legendary pay-per-view. It deserves it. Solid 82 B rating here, and about that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Edge goes over Chuck Palumbo in 9 minutes, 40 seconds with the spear. Stacy Keibler, tries to distract Edge. Doesn't do him her any good. Edge still able to pull out the victory, making his first defense of the WCW United States Championship. Chuck Palumbo had an in-ring performance of a 75. Edge with an 83. I think we can see who's the better superstar. Big difference between the two there. No worker improvements to comment on as we move on to the next segment here. Just seeing Kurt Angle getting ready for his match against Chris Benoit, which will be coming up soon. 76 B- here. We go to the Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit video package, which gets a 97 A-star rating. Yes! Please live up to expectations. I need this match to be amazing. Here we go, guys. Yes! Yes! 99 A-star rating in an exceptional match. Kurt Angle goes over Chris Benoit in 23 minutes, 8 seconds, making him tap out to the ankle lock. Ric Flair got involved. Of course he did. He's the dirtiest player in the game. Didn't do him any good. Kurt Angle was able to fight through the Ric Flair interference. Still fight him away in this match. Locked in the ankle lock on Chris Benoit. Pulled him away from the ropes. Benoit couldn't take it. He had to tap out. Disappointing everybody in WCW. And finally, Kurt Angle beats Chris Benoit to make his second defense of the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Only 1 point difference between these two, much like the other world title match. Kurt Angle had a 93 in-ring performance to Chris Benoit's 92. 99 A-star rating. I am so freaking happy with that. Benoit's improving in performance skill. The only thing that makes me not happy with this 99 A-star rating is the fact that I know that the Royal Rumble is no way in hell is going to live up to this, and that is not going to be our ending match, but still, yes. Alright, we lead into, the whole hype video for the Royal Rumble. It gets a 97 A-star rating. Of course, it highlights mostly the favorites of the match being, of course, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, The Giant, Diamond Dallas Page, Chris Jericho, Kane, Booker T, and Goldberg. I was about to say, why is Goldberg not on here? Just pretty much showing off, the... You guys get where I'm going with this. I don't think I have to explain the video packages to you. Either way. So before we go into the Royal Rumble, guys, if you guys watched my Survivor Series War Games episode, I did something special for War Games because it's a big match. I decided to go into a little bit more detail for that match. So before we jump into the Royal Rumble, I did go ahead and I wrote down the Royal Rumble match. That's what kind of took me so long. That's why this pay-per-view is being uploaded a little later than I wanted it to. But let's go ahead and let's jump in to the Royal Rumble match in this ugly bright red right now. But, of course, we get the rules read, the basic rules of the Royal Rumble. We have our first two entrants. Number 1 is going to be WCW's Hugh Morris, and at number 2 is going to be WWF's Kane. So, not a good start for Hugh Morris. But, I guess not a good start for Kane either, who set the record in last year's Royal Rumble. I believe it was last year's. Maybe it was 2000. I don't remember exactly. I think it was last year, though, in 2001. He set the record for the Royal Rumble, and now he's starting at number 1. For all we know, he could eliminate all 29 then. Either way, as Kane's making his way down to the ring, Hugh Morris, he stands in the ring horrified. Once in the ring, the bell rings, and the Royal Rumble is underway. Hugh Morris goes after Kane right away, trying to catch the monster off guard, but Kane takes the punches. He takes them. Not doing much for Hugh Morris right now. Kane's had enough of it, lands that stiff uppercut that only Kane knows how to do before just taking it to Hugh Morris. Morris does his best to try to avoid Kane and stay in the ring for the next 2 minutes, which he's able to do. And that leads to number 3, Mark Jindrak, the protege of The Undertaker, of course, but one half of the former WCW Tag Team Champions as well. Mark Jindrak is the next entrant into the Royal Rumble. He immediately targets Kane, and despite losing the WCW Tag Team titles earlier in the night to Morris, Jindrak actually opts to work together with him. He understands that, Kane is the bigger man. They need to work together to get him out. But, of course, once that doesn't work, Jindrak catches Hugh off guard and then begins to go after him instead, beating down on Hugh Morris. Kane finally recovers, turns his attention to Jindrak, who, of course, is also a bigger man. Hugh is the lesser of the threat right now. So we got Kane and Jindrak battling it out right now, while Hugh Morris just kind of lays low in the corner, leading to number 4, Chuck Palumbo, who once again comes out and he immediately targets Kane. Kane is the threat right now. He's preventing the Big Red Machine from eliminating Jindrak. Now we have the two big men, both Chuck Palumbo and Mark Jindrak. They're working together, double teaming Kane. Eventually they have him tee the ring up on the ropes. Hugh Morris even comes in to help now. So now we have a trio of WCW superstars attempting to eliminate the Big Red Machine. But Kane is able to fight his way back into the match. He tosses tosses Morris over the rope. Wasn't that our first elimination? Or did I miss it? Well, either way, that was our first elimination. I might have not have typed it in. I guess... Oh, no, I didn't even finish my sentence. That's why. Duh. He tosses Hugh Morris over the rope, but he was able to hold on and, hold on to the rope. Mark Jindrak and Stasiak, they quickly go back to brawling it out with Kane, while Hugh just holds back onto the rope. This leads to our next entrance, Bradshaw. We have another WWF guy joining the Rumble. He slides into the ring. Bradshaw pulls Chuck Palumbo off of Kane and begins the brawl with Chuck. We got everybody brawling right now, of course, minus Hugh Morris, who's hiding, for the next 2 minutes here. So we got Bradshaw taking on Chuck Palumbo. Kane is brawling with Mark Jindrak. This leads to our 6th entrant of the Royal Rumble, Billy Gunn. And Billy comes to join the party. He goes right after Hugh Morris, who's hiding in the corner. And we just see the ring filling up right now with all 6 men kind of duking it out. Out comes number 7, Ron Simmons. Still no eliminations. Ron Simmons goes into the ring, and he goes immediately after his old tag team partner, Bradshaw. So we got former APA brothers battling it out. Kane is on the verge of tossing out Mark Jindrak once again. But Palumbo comes to the aid once again for his fellow WCW brethren. Now that Ron Simmons is going after Bradshaw, Palumbo had his hands free, so he was able to save Jindrak here. We got Morris and Gunn, taking turns, almost eliminating each other, but still no eliminations quite yet. Out comes Rikishi next, and the big Quiche makes his way down to the ring. It's already a crowded ring, but it's even getting more crowded, especially with all these big men in here. We got Kane, we got Mark Jindrak, Chuck Palumbo, Bradshaw, Ron Simmons, and Rikishi. There's only 2 men in here who are tiny. Everyone here is pretty big. But Rikishi's now in the ring. He's brawling everybody. Everyone's fighting. At one point, Billy Gunn finds himself at the wrong place and the wrong time, and he gets a nice face full of ass, courtesy of the big Quiche. So Mr. Ass gets a face full of ass here. Next up is Dean Malenko. Still no eliminations. Dean Malenko comes into the ring. But instead of, getting into the ring right away, he analyzes the right time to slide in. He tries to slide in at the right time and help eliminate Ron Simmons alongside Bradshaw. But WCW is proven to be an allied unit, at least for now, because once again, Mark Jindrak and Chuck Palumbo working together to prevent WWF from getting the first elimination or eliminating any WCW guys. As now we have 9 men in the Royal Rumble, all brawling it out in the crowded ring until finally, at number 10, Goldberg. And Goldberg's music plays. Everyone just stops in their place, and they see just this steaming mammoth of a man, Goldberg, making his way down to the ring. Once in the ring, Bradshaw immediately looks to eliminate Goldberg with a clothesline from hell, but Goldberg ducks him and then sends Bradshaw out with a clothesline of his own, eliminating the first man of the night, Bradshaw, courtesy of Goldberg. And if you'll see right here, we'll see this throughout the night, of course. These numbers next to him mean that's the amount of people they've eliminated. So Bradshaw's the first person to get eliminated. Everyone tries to gang up on Goldberg now while his back is turned. Of course, we got Kane, who's taking his time to recover. Now that there's another big man everyone's paying attention to. Goldberg, of course, overpowers the gang of men and immediately just tosses Billy Gunn right out of the ring alongside with Dean Malenko. So there goes Billy, there goes Dean Malenko. And with that, we have our second and our third elimination, and Goldberg's second and third elimination, Billy Gunn and Dean Malenko. Ron Simmons goes after Goldberg next because I know this is WCW versus WWF, but this is also a chance to go to WrestleMania, baby, and Goldberg's a threat. So Ron Simmons goes after Goldberg. He gets a good couple shots in. Rikishi comes in and helps him out as well. So we get our first WCW WWF team up here, but it ends up backfiring because Goldberg ends up tossing Ron Simmons into the corner and then tosses Rikishi into Simmons into the corner before taking both men out with a clothesline. So clotheslines 2 of those big men out of the ring. I think so, yeah. Meanwhile, we got Mark Jindrak and Sean Stasiak, who have now turned their attention back over to Kane, while Hugh Morris just tries to stay out of sight. So 4th and 5th elimination are now gone, with Rikishi and Ron Simmons earning Goldberg his 5th elimination as well. Goldberg's racking them up quick as we now go to number 11, Eddie Guerrero. Eddie makes his way down to the ring, but just like his good friend Dean Malenko, he's not quick to get in the ring. In fact, instead of getting in the ring, he opts to wait it out. He's got Goldberg staring him down. Morris sees this as his only opportunity as he lands a drop kick on Goldberg while his back is turned. So imagine Undertaker and Maven right now. So he lands a drop kick on Goldberg's back while it is turned, but unlike Undertaker and Maven, it doesn't eliminate Goldberg because instead of eliminating him, he just pissed him off, and now Goldberg has turned his attention towards Hugh Morris. Hugh, of course, gets on his knees. He's apologizing, begging him, oh my God, please, I didn't mean to. I'm sorry, I slipped, yada, yada, yada. Goldberg just grabs him by the ear and picks him up before hitting him with a jackhammer suplex and then tossing him out of the ring, earning his 6th elimination, with Hugh Morris being the 6th elimination of the night. My phone is just vibrating right now. Knock it off. Mark Jindrak and Chuck Palumbo, they have Kane on the ropes right now, but instead of helping them, Goldberg instead of uses it to his advantage and proceeds to toss both Jindrak and Palumbo out by their legs, hoping to eliminate Kane in the process, but Kane's able to hold on. So you guys get the whole spot, when someone just picks him up by the legs and throws him over. So out goes Mark Jindrak and Chuck Palumbo, number 7 and 8. Goldberg now at 8 eliminations as well. Goldberg really racking them up, guys. He is making quick work here. Eddie kind of mocks the two men before, while they're on their way out, just like laughing at him because they got eliminated. But that turns out to be a bad idea for Eddie Guerrero, because Jindrak and Palumbo, before leaving ringside, decide to grab Eddie and toss him in the ring. Eddie, of course, irritated by this, he ends up cursing him out and all that and yelling at him before he actually realizes where he's at. And he turns around, he sees Goldberg just smiling and waiting for him. And, Eddie tries to, get Goldberg to work with him. He's like, come on, man, we got Kane here and all that. And for a moment, it looks like it's going to work. But that's, when Eddie's going after Kane, Goldberg just decides to run at him and hit him with a spear and then toss him over as well, eliminating Eddie with our 9th elimination of the night and Goldberg's 9th elimination of the night. He's getting close to Kane's record quick here, guys. Speaking of Kane, it's just Goldberg and Kane left in the ring. We have the two men staring each other down until finally out enters number 12, the commissioner of WCW, Lord Steven Regal. Regal makes his way down towards the ring, but before he gets in the ring, he reaches into his trunks and he pulls out not 1, but 2 sets of brass knuckles, nerds and geeks. He puts both sets of brass knuckles on each hand and he then walks onto the ring steps. He doesn't just slide into the ring. He's not stupid. Walks onto the ring steps before getting into the ring. He blows on his brass knuckles to shine them up real nice before, of course, wiping his boots off on the apron as well. He then gets in through the middle ropes and then just goes running at both Kane and Goldberg, both hands ready to just knock him out with punches. But Goldberg and Kane just grab Regal and throw him out while he's running, pretty much, using his momentum against him. So we have our 10th elimination. Lord Steven Regal earning Goldberg his 10th elimination and Kane his 1st. Kane's going to have a lot of catching up to do. Right now, Goldberg is just 2 away from breaking his record, or tying his record, I should say. Goldberg and Kane are now both alone in the middle of the ring, the two men getting each other's face before having a stare down and then leading to a brawl between each other. Kane eventually tries for a chokeslam on Goldberg, but he's able to slide out of it, and Goldberg then bounces off the ropes, catches Kane off guard with a spear, and then he picks Kane up and throws him out of the ring as well. So now Kane is out of the ring, and Goldberg has earned his 11th elimination of the match, along with the 11th elimination of the Royal Rumble, Kane. So right now, every elimination of the Royal Rumble belongs to Goldberg. Goldberg now stands alone in the ring, waiting for his next victim as the clock begins to count down till we see number 13, Scott Steiner, one half of the new WWF Tag Team Champions. He makes his way down to the ring. He doesn't have a care in the world. He's not afraid of Goldberg. Goldberg dares him to step up. Scott tells him to back up because he's not stupid, of course, saying, back up and I'll get in the ring. So Goldberg, of course, lets Scott get in the ring. We have the two tie-up. Goldberg tosses Scott to the side, showing off his superior strength. That pisses Scott Steiner off because once he gets up, he dares Goldberg to test his strength up against him. So they do the whole, finger locking thing. Goldberg agrees, the two lock fingers. They look even at first, but Goldberg starts to overpower Scott Steiner once again, which leads to Scott Steiner kicking him in the gut and then begins to beat down on Goldberg. This leads to number 14 coming out, Rick Steiner. So Goldberg not able to just clear the ring like before. He's got a threat on his hand with Scott. And now he's got both Steiners coming down. Both WWF Tag Team Champions are in the ring. Rick makes his way down to the ring. And both him and Scott work together on Goldberg, wearing him down before picking him up and trying to eliminate Goldberg. Goldberg fights back by kicking them off him, of course. Of course, he's like leaning up against the rope, so he has to land like a nice stiff kick to get one off him. He slides back in the ring. Rick Steiner tries to catch him off guard and run at him, but Goldberg just tosses him over his shoulders and over the ropes to eliminate him. So the 12th elimination of the night and Goldberg's 12th belongs to Rick Steiner. Scott Steiner gets pissed because, he just eliminated his brother, so he goes back to beating down on Goldberg. Goldberg, he picks up Goldberg and begins to run him towards the ropes and toss him out, but Goldberg uses Scott Steiner's momentum against him and slides down and just pushes him or tosses him out of the rope instead. So instead of Scott just running him out, Goldberg pretty much pushed him out, getting the 13th elimination of the night and breaking I didn't make a big deal out of him tying the record, but now he has officially broke the record of Kane with 13 eliminations, and for the first time ever is the only time someone has owned the Royal Rumble this bad. Goldberg is looking dominant right now, guys. Of course, he's not known for his stamina, and he just had a kind of a beatdown, exchange with the Steiners, along with, fighting with Kane and everybody else so far. So he falls into the corner. He's catching his breath as he waits for the next entrant of the Royal Rumble. And at number 15 is Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Austin makes his way down to the ring. But before getting in the ring, Austin instead walks over to the commentary table, and he picks up a mic and he says, "If you want old Stone Cold to get in the ring and open a can of whoop ass on Goldberg for the first time ever, give me a hell yeah." And then, of course, you got the crowd going, "Hell yeah," because this is a dream match about to happen. Austin and Goldberg, but Austin ain't going to let him have the justification because he goes, "Well, it's a damn good thing I'm not dumb, huh? Take your break, Goldberg, because I ain't getting that ring until I damn well feel like it." And Goldberg just kind of stares Austin down, trying to coax him in the ring while Austin just joins the commentary table for the next 2 minutes. And, not even the next 2 minutes. He just joins the commentary table in general. I don't know why I said 2 minutes. Pretty much just recapping the event, saying how Rhino won the Intercontinental Championship. We got a new WWF champion, stuff like that. Phew! Excuse me, guys. Until we have our next competitor come out, which is number 16, the WCW United States Champion, Edge. And Edge is not afraid of Goldberg. In fact, he has a little bit of history with Goldberg. Goldberg hit Edge with a spear early on in their career together. So Edge looking for a little bit of revenge, possibly, as he slides right in and goes right after Goldberg, just immediately taken to it, not wasting any time, as we got the two men brawling around the ring right now. What am I talking about? Edge actually catches Goldberg off guard at one point with a spinning heel kick, and then he gets into the corner. He begins to set up for his version of the spear. He's wanting to hit the spear on Goldberg. That's exactly what Goldberg hit him with. He runs at him, and he tries to catch him, or at least it appears like he caught him, but instead Goldberg caught Edge in mid-spear and then proceeds to hit him with the jackhammer suplex before tossing the United States Champion out. And that gets the 14th elimination for not only Goldberg, but in the match, and that belongs to Edge. Of course, Austin uses Edge as his distraction, and he slides his way into the ring while Goldberg is distracted, and he takes his forearm right to the back of the knee of Goldberg, taking him down, and then he begins to just stomp repeatedly on Goldberg's leg, weakening Goldberg. I mean, how's Goldberg going to really toss anybody out if he can't even stand? Goldberg, pushes him away. He tries to get back up, but Austin remains relentless. He goes right back after the leg, taking him down, stomping him down. He then begins to wait for him to get back to his feet. Once Goldberg gets to his feet, Austin kicks him in the gut. Looks like he's going for the stunner. Goldberg pushes him off, and as Austin turns around, quickly, because it's Goldberg, damn it. So he turns around quickly, and he gets hit right with the spear. So Goldberg takes Austin down, and we got both Goldberg and Austin just laying on the mat, trying to catch their breath. Goldberg gets back up, and he goes to pick Austin up, but the rattlesnake rakes Goldberg's eyes, and Goldberg backs up against the rope. Austin uses this to his advantage, and he ties Goldberg into the rope, of course. So now we got the whole gimmick of, being tied up into the rope. He starts just stomping in Goldberg's gut, pretty much stomping a mud hole into Goldberg. But once again, Goldberg takes his feet, kicks Austin off of him, pushes him off. He's able to fight himself out of the ropes, but Austin catches him off guard with a, kick to the gut again. He attempts the stunner, but Goldberg still sees it coming. He tosses him, instead of, tossing him off this time, he picks, Austin up like he's doing a back suplex. And instead of, hitting a back suplex, he pretty much just rolls Austin over his shoulders and over the ropes, eliminating the Texas Rattlesnake. So we have our 15th elimination, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Goldberg has now officially eliminated half of the Royal Rumble. 15 superstar eliminations belong to Goldberg. Austin just sits outside. He's stunned. He can't believe he's just been eliminated. The next entrance, countdown is, beginning or counting down now. And we go to our 17th entrant, the Giant. Out comes the Giant. He's making his way down to the ring. Goldberg and Giant have had a little bit of a brief feud here as of late. Goldberg's waiting for him. Austin using another superstar to his advantage. This time it's the Giant. Uses him as a distraction, sneaks his way back into the ring, and while the Giant and Goldberg are, exchanging words, Austin grabs Goldberg from behind and tosses him over the ropes. So despite Stone Cold being eliminated, he don't give a damn. He went back in there and eliminated the man who eliminated him. So Goldberg is the 16th elimination. And like I said, despite being eliminated before, Stone Cold gets himself an elimination still. And Goldberg may have eliminated half the Royal Rumble, but he took his eyes off the prize for one moment, and you can't trust a snake, guys. So the Giant stands there. He laughs at Goldberg. Once, Goldberg has realized what happened, he doesn't even pay attention to the Giant. He goes right after Austin, pulls Austin out of the ring by his leg, and now we have the two men brawling, the two bald men from the two different companies brawling, Stone Cold and Goldberg. They're brawling around ringside. Giant's in the ring. He's not getting involved in this. It's not his business. We got a gang of men coming out, probably superstars who have been eliminated, road agents, stuff like that, separating Goldberg and the Stone Cold Steve Austin, from pretty much getting them separated and getting them away from ringside so we can continue the Royal Rumble. Meanwhile, all this time, Giant has been waiting for his next opponent, which just so happens to be number 18, DDP. And Diamond Dallas Page is next. Giant is ready. He's waiting and ready. We all know about the feud between DDP and Giant. He's waiting for Page to get in the ring. But instead of getting in the ring, DDP decides to antagonize the Giant while he's outside. And he's waiting for the perfect moment for him to catch Giant off guard. He grabs a towel from ringside and he decides to throw it in the Giant's face. So, Giant, of course, was leaning against the ropes at this time, so he throws it into his face. He then gets up on the apron and does the whole, hangman's rope thing, pulling the Giant, throat first onto the ropes. He gets into the ring, grabs the towel, wraps it around his face even more, gets, as many strikes as he can on before the Giant. Giant then throws him off. He's irritated. He rips the towel off. He's pissed off. He lunges at Diamond Dallas Page, but Page is able to move out of the way. He does his best to strike and dodge Giant, but finally the Giant's able to get his hands on him, and he just tosses Page into the corner, does the whole thing, and then just lands that whole big-ass chop right across Page's chest, leaving a big old handprint there, and just pretty much toying around with Page until finally we get number 19, Albert. Former WWF Tag Team Champion Albert, now out here. He makes a beeline towards the ring. Giant has Page up on his shoulders, but Albert goes right after Giant. Of course, Albert's not stupid. He knows he needs the number games to get rid of someone like Giant, so he's going to need Diamond Dallas Page. So he goes right after Giant, takes him down. We got Albert and Giant now brawling with each other. Diamond Dallas Page don't give a damn. He's going to let these two guys, brawl it out. He chills in the corner. Albert probably eventually he goes running at Giant, probably looking for that axe kick or that, I don't know what you would call it, that weird body bump move he does. He goes running at Giant, but unfortunately for him, he's not able to get anything off because instead of him getting a move off, Giant catches Albert by his throat, and he goes for a chokeslam, but Diamond Dallas Page also gets up, and he goes after Giant. Giant then grabs DDP by his throat, now looking to chokeslam both men, but Albert and Page decide to work together and kick Giant in the gut and hit him with a double suplex. Out comes number 20, which is Chris Jericho. And Jericho is hesitant to get in the ring at first, but he sees Albert and DDP are, got Giant up on the ropes, so now Jericho sees his opportunity, so he slides into the ring. He joins both Albert. Joins Albert and Page, trying to get rid of the Giant. Giant pushes them back. He hits Albert with a headbutt, tosses Page back, and then Jericho falls back on his ass, and he just starts begging Giant to have mercy. I didn't mean it. I was trying to get him off of you, things like that. Giant's not having any of it, though. He picks Chris Jericho up by his hair. Jericho's not having any of that, though, because then he decides to kick the Giant below the belt, pretty much using the whole Eddie Guerrero tactic of leading you in and then hitting you in the groin, pretty much. Some Ric Flair tactics going on here. So he he hits him below the belt. Where was I at? And then, meanwhile, he starts berating, the Giant, screaming, "How dare you grab my hair? You think you're so strong because you're big," stuff like that. And that's when DDP comes out of nowhere and hits a diamond cutter on the Giant. And now we got Chris Jericho kicking Diamond Dallas Page while he's down, just shouting "You stupid idiot! How are we gonna throw him out now?" Things like that because the Giant's down. So Jericho forces Page back up to his feet. He's trying to throw him out, but Page is holding on. Out comes number 21, which is Chris Jericho's protege, Christian. Who picked these numbers? Christian, of course, comes out pandering to the crowd. Jericho still trying to eliminate DDP, and he's like screaming at Christian, Christian, hurry the hell up already! Like trying to get him to come down here. Christian finally realizes it. He races down to the ring. He gets into the ring, but Albert just goes right after him and beating down on Christian. So instead of Jericho continuing to eliminate Diamond Dallas Page, I had to take a drink, sorry guys. Jericho, instead of trying to eliminate Page, decides to let go of DDP and go after Albert instead because, he's trying to save his protege because they got a plan, They're the man with the plan. They're coming in here planning on working together to, win the whole thing pretty much. So we got Jericho going after Albert. He goes to turn him around to deck him, but right when he turns him around, Albert's ready to deck him, and he turns around and just gets him right in the face. Actually, I'm wrong. He doesn't get him in the face, and I think I just had some deja vu there, to be honest. But he doesn't hit him in the face. In fact, Jericho's able to stop him in time, and he goes, wait! And I starts telling him, like, look, we need to get rid of the Giant. Like, you're the only guy here who's really strong enough to get him up. Let me and Christian help you pick up the Giant, and let's throw his fat ass over here. Albert agrees. We got 3 men now trying to pick the Giant up. Giant, starting to get a little bit more, gain his consciousness back. Starts fighting back, and he sends the 3 men off of him before shaking his head, and then he sees DDP. He remembers DDP hitting him with that diamond cutter, so he just sees red, and he goes right after Diamond Dallas Page. But instead of, getting DDP, Page decides to pull the ropes down, sending the Giant outside of the ring, and that is our 17th elimination of the night, the Giant, courtesy of Diamond Dallas Page. So Giant is pissed off in the ring. He's pissed off outside of the ring, I should say. We got the referees. They're trying to keep him back, saying, he's been eliminated. Page is just waving him off, like having a good old time. Out comes number 22, Chris Kanyon, new WCW Tag Team Champion Chris Kanyon. And it's his time to shine. He starts making his way down to the ring, but Giant catches him on his way up to the ramp and just hits him with a choke slam before looking back at DDP and then just walking his way out. Page is just kind of staring back like, oh, okay then, I'm not looking forward to that pretty much. He then turns his attention back into the action, just in time to save Albert from elimination, because much like before with the Giant, DDP also understands that he needs the numbers to his advantage, and if Albert's gone, that means Jericho and Christian will double team on him. So he pulls Jericho off of him, leaving Christian to Albert. We now got all 4 men doing battle in the middle of the ring, while unfortunately Kanyon is pretty much knocked out on the outside of the ring. Out comes number 23, Matt Hardy, the man who won or earned the final Rumble spot earlier in the night during Sunday Night Heat. Hardy slides into the ring and he goes to aid Albert in beating down on Christian. A little bit of a rivalry there between them, of course. Jericho rakes at the eyes of Diamond Dallas Page and comes to Christian's aid, pulling Matt Hardy off by his hair and then raking the eyes off of Albert before throwing Albert over the top rope along with Christian. So we have our 18th elimination, Albert, courtesy of Vitamin C. Both superstars, Jericho and Christian, earning their first elimination. Jericho then turns his attention back over to Matt and Diamond Dallas Page. He tells Christian to go after Matt and he'll get Page. This leads to entry number 24, Lance Storm, the current Canadian champion. He makes his way down to the ring and he joins his fellow Canadians, Jericho and Christian, in the beatdown of DDP and especially Matt Hardy, his old rival. Christian now turns his attention over to Diamond Dallas Page to help Chris Jericho out while Lance Storm and Matt Hardy reignite their rivalry. Storm eventually goes for a last call super kick on Matt Hardy, but Matt's able to duck, and Storm connects right with the jaw of Chris Jericho. During this time, Jericho and Christian are trying to eliminate DDP, so inadvertently, Lance Storm kind of saves DDP, because now that Jericho got hit with a last call super kick, Christian now turns his attention towards Lance Storm. He goes over to him, he pushes him, asking him what his deal is. Storm pushes back, he's not having any of this, and now we have the 2 men beginning the brawl. Meanwhile, Canyon's finally gained consciousness and is slowly but surely making his way down to the ring. Out comes Jeff Hardy, and Jeff Hardy's making his way down to the ring. He passes Canyon, he's in the ring before Canyon. He ducks both Chris Jericho and Christian once he's in the ring, and he runs up the ropes to hit the Whisper in the Wind on both members of Vitamin C. And then he sees Lance Storm trying to eliminate his brother, so he goes over and actually helps his brother out despite their differences. And Matt and Jeff kind of have a stare down between each other, kind of like a little understanding before going ahead and working with each other. doing all the old Hardy Boy moves like the corner spots and leg drops, stuff like that, the Hardy Boy spots, before tossing Lance Storm out of the ring, earning the 19th elimination of the night. Lance Storm belonging to Jeff and Matt Hardy together. Matt takes advantage of Jeff's trust, though, and then throws his brother out of the ring as well. So Jeff is the 20th elimination, and Matt Hardy's second elimination. Who would have thought Matt Hardy getting 2 eliminations? Matt is now taunting Jeff on the ropes, of course, now, because he just eliminated his brother. Kanyon finally gets his way into the apron, and then just grabs Matt Hardy by his hair, pulls him over the ropes, and now Matt Hardy is eliminated. So we have our 21st elimination, Matt Hardy, with Kanyon finally back in the ring, earning his first elimination. Kanyon turns around to see Chris Jericho, or gets into the ring, I should say, to see Jericho and Christian surrounding him. But DDP now gets up and stands by the side of Chris Kanyon. We have a former WCW Tag Team Champion of reunion here, as Paige and Kanyon start brawling with Jericho and Christian. All 4 men begin to brawl until number 26, Triple H, comes out, and the game's music goes off once again, similar to Goldberg. Everyone just kind of stops in the middle of the ring because here comes Triple H, big threat coming down. Once in the ring, Triple H just pretty much dares someone to come after him. Kanyon is going to be the stupid one to take that challenge, which leads to him going to run at Triple H, and then Triple H just tossing him over the ropes. So Chris Kanyon is the 22nd elimination, courtesy of Triple H earning his first. DDP also tries to take advantage of this moment while Triple H's back is turned, but Vitamin C cut him in half, or cut him off during it, and begin to beat him down. So we got Jericho and Christian beating down on Paige, and they're trying to take him up, but then Triple H goes over and grabs Christian by his hair and then just tosses him out of the ring. So instead of joining in on the fun and trying to eliminate DDP, he uses it as his distraction and tosses out Christian. So Christian is now the 23rd elimination and Triple H's second. Jericho, takes his eyes off of Paige once again for the second time in the Rumble when he's had him on the ropes, going after Triple H now because Triple H just eliminated his protege. The 2 exchange words in the middle of the ring before, exchanging strikes back and forth, trying to eliminate one another, with no success, by the way. This goes on to lead to the 27th superstar, Shawn Stasiak, former WCW Tag Team Champion. He makes his way down to the ring. He goes right after DDP while Jericho and Triple H battle it out. Jericho has Triple H on the ropes at one point, but Triple H manages to fight his way back into the ring. He then throws Jericho over the rope, and we just see a repeat of what just happened, because as Triple H is trying to eliminate him, Jericho fights his way back into the ring. Meanwhile, while this is happening, Stasiak has Diamond Dallas Page teetering on the ropes, and this leads to number 28, Test, a former WWF Tag Team Champion, coming down to the ring. And Test makes his way down to the ring. Page fights Stasiak off, and when Stasiak turns around and he sees Test coming down to the ring, he tries to go eliminate Test right away, but instead of eliminating him, Test is able to duck him and send him over the rope instead. So out goes Shawn Stasiak, the 24th elimination of the night, belonging to Test. Test then sees Triple H, and he goes after Triple H, looking to get rid of the freshest man of the night, or in the match right now. He and the game begin to battle it out. DDP is now, trying to push Chris Jericho out of the ring. We got Jericho holding onto the ropes while this is all happening. Test goes running at Triple H for that big boot, but the game is able to move out of the way, and then Test just hangs his leg up on the rope, which leads to Triple H to pick Test's other leg up and toss him out of the ring as well. So that is the 25th elimination of the night, and it belongs to Triple H. The game then goes and pulls Diamond Dallas Page off of Chris Jericho before going after the WCW icon. We got Jericho recovering on the ropes. Number 29 comes out, and it's Booker T. And out comes the former WCW World Champion. Booker T rushes down to the ring, comes to the aid of Diamond Dallas Page. He's striking Triple H, bounces him off the ropes, but the game is able to counter and hit Book with that high knee face buster, when he comes running off the ropes. The game now waits for Booker T to get up to his feet for the pedigree, but Booker T tosses him over his shoulders. He then goes to run the ropes and hit Triple H with a scissors kick while he's getting back up, but the game is able to counter into the Arn Anderson-style spine buster that he does. The game then goes, once they're both down, Triple H picks Booker T back up, but Booker is able to counter it real quick into the bookend, slamming the game right into the canvas. We got both men laying there. Booker gets back up, and he goes to pick Triple H up real quick, but Chris Jericho takes full advantage of this, grabs a handful of Booker T's hair, and just tosses him right over the ropes, and sends the former WCW World Champion out. with the 26th elimination of the night going to Chris Jericho. We've only got one more superstar left, so we are now looking at the final four Nerds and Geeks: Chris Jericho, Triple H, Diamond Dallas Page, and finally, the lights go dark, and a familiar theme begins to play over the loudspeaker. Of course, the familiar theme is a WCW superstar because we are waiting for the 15th superstar of WCW. Dusty Rhodes is freaking out because he recognizes the theme. He's like, "This can't be who it is, who I think it is, baby. There's no way in hell it's him." And the lights turn back on, and standing in the ring is number 30, Sting. And the Stinger stands in the middle of the ring. He's got his black bat in hand. Triple H goes running at him. Sting swings the bat right into his gut. Jericho gets the same treatment. DDP goes running at Sting now, but Sting just, points the bat out right into, DDP's throat. Pretty much, now backing him up into the turnbuckle. DDP and Sting kind of have a little bit of a stare down. Sting points up to the WrestleMania sign, and he gets hit before, of course, getting hit from behind by Jericho and Triple H. So now we got Jericho. He kicks the bat out of the ring. Enough of that. We got the Game and Jericho. They're continuing to beat down on the Stinger. Let's call him that. DDP, of course, has respect for Sting, and of course, him being a WCW superstar, comes to his aid. He goes after Chris Jericho, of course, because, they're both the weakest. So if he's going to go after anyone, it might as well be Jericho, someone that he can keep up with right now. So we got DDP going after Chris Jericho. Triple H picks Sting up, and he goes to toss him into the turnbuckle, but Sting is able to counter and tosses the Game into the corner, and then connects with the Stinger Splash. Jericho then goes running at Sting, but Sting is able to move out of the way. Jericho connects with Triple H with the Stinger Splash of his own, apparently. And then Sting grabs Chris Jericho by the hair and dumps him out of the ring, earning Sting his first elimination and the 27th elimination of the match, being Chris Jericho. Sting turns around and he sees DDP standing in the middle of the ring. The two, go in the middle of the ring with each other. They shake hands, but instead of letting go, Diamond Dallas Page tries to pull Sting in for the Diamond Cutter. Sting's able to counter. He pushes him off into the corner. Page turns around and gets hit with a Stinger Splash. Triple H goes running at Sting. Sting's able to duck, and instead of Triple H clotheslining him, he clotheslines Diamond Dallas Page out of the ring. So the 28th elimination belongs to DDP, and it earned Triple H his 4th elimination. And now we have our final two, Sting and Triple H. Both men standing in the middle of the ring. They exchange words with each other before leading to trading blows. Sting tosses the Game into the ropes. He puts his head down, which turns out to be a mistake because Triple H counters with that face buster of his. He goes for a clothesline. Sting's able to duck the clothesline, pulls him back by his hair, and hits the Scorpion Death Drop. He then goes in to lock in the Scorpion Death Lock, but Triple H kicks him off, sends Sting over the ropes. Sting hangs on. Triple H goes running at him, but Sting catches him with a punch. He then climbs up to the turnbuckle and hits a flying crossbody on the Game. Triple H rolls through the crossbody. He picks Sting up, hits him with a fallaway slam afterwards. So I know I took a little bit of a pause there. I was taking a drink. Sorry. Oh, get out of here. Diversity in comics. Come on, my man. Interrupted my video like that. But like I said, Sting hits the crossbody. Triple H rolls through with the crossbody and then hits a fallaway slam on Sting. Sting, he's feeling the pain. He crawls his way up into the turnbuckle. Triple H comes running at him. Sting moves out of the way. So Triple H goes chest first into the turnbuckle. Sting connects with a Scorpion Splash back first with the Game, and then he runs the ropes once again. While Triple H, he stumbles out of the, the turnbuckle, and Sting connects with the clothesline, sending Triple H out of the ring to win the 2002 Royal Rumble. So the 29th elimination belongs to Triple H, the man who actually won this Royal Rumble. Sting gets his 2nd elimination and wins the Royal Rumble in his WWF debut. Alright, guys. So now that we got all that out of the way, we know who won the Royal Rumble. We know about the secret debut of Sting. Everything went down. How did it do? I'm not even mad. I was hoping for maybe an A, but an 85B+, I can take it. We're going to have to give a lot of people bonuses, though, because a lot of people were pissed that we put Sting over. We have a bout that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Sting wins the Battle Royal in 59 minutes, 48 seconds, with the other members of the Final Four being, of course, Triple H, DDP, and Chris Jericho. Triple H was the final elimination. Goldberg, of course, got the most eliminations over the course of the match, being 15 at total. Don't think that'll ever be beaten. I don't even think anyone will ever get 15 eliminations. Kane, of course, set the record for surviving the longest in this match. Maybe not the record for the longest, but surviving the longest. He was at number 2 when you think about it. He survived halfway through the Rumble. So Rick Steiner was really off his game, apparently. Steve Austin getting better at his gimmick. Sting debuted his vigilante gimmick and got an above average. Potential heels. Okay, whatever. Who cares about that? A lot of storylines moved on, which is to be expected. Worker improvements wise, we got Ron Simmons improving in technical. The one Billy Gunn improving in performance. Booker T is improving in Rumble. Lord Steven Regal is improving in performance. Rick Steiner's improving in Rumble. And Scott Steiner improving in Rumble. We end off the show to get a solid 89 A rating, increasing our popularity in 6 regions. And I already know who's getting a big thank you. We're giving a big thank you to Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit for one. We are going to praise them for a great performance here tonight. Now, the only question is, who is getting the second praise? Normally, it would go to Undertaker and Brock, because they got the second best match, I believe, but I kind of want to give it to Sting. We're going to give it to Sting. We're going to go ahead and give it to Stinger here, and let's just give him some encouragement. So let's make the speech. Kurt Angle was happy with our speech. Benoit seemed pleased, as did Sting. That's right, nerds and geeks. A lot of you guys have been wondering, when are we finally going to bring the Stinger in? He's here. He just won the Royal Rumble. What do we got here? Roddy Piper in critical condition. Oh, great. That's the way I wanted. What the hell? What did I just walk into? Oh, this is probably a freaking a thing the person put in here, not me. So apparently around this time he was in a car accident last night, and claiming the driver, manager Johnny Fairplay, tried to kill him by slamming his car into the steel guardrail and 2 SUVs. When the paramedics arrived, Piper's blood pressure was 80 to 40, and he was close to clinically dead. The former WWF WCW superstar is in intensive care at Cedars-Sinai Hospital, recovering from a shattered ankle, ruptured spleen, broken back in 2 places, and 4 broken ribs. And none of that is true. Holy shit, never mind, it's totally true. I was wrong. Getting fantastic reviews. Tito Santana is going to retire. Whatever. Oh, there's a new promotion. Stampede Wrestling. Stu Hart. Okay. Pretty sure that was already a thing. And apparently 3PW is a new promotion coming in. Alright, what do we got here? Paul Bearer has now returned. Bubba Ray Dudley, Devon. Scott Hall has left New Japan Pro Wrestling. Spanky finished his tour. There's booking positions available. I'm not going to be taking those. Oh boy, Billy Gunn's upset with his booking. Royal Rumble got a 2.0. I'm assuming that's good. Scott Steiner says Disco Inferno isn't charismatic. We should release him and hire someone better. I disagree. Disco Inferno's been doing wonders for me, I think. What do we got here? Incident involving Andrew Tess Martin. Lovely. What do we got? Oh, soft drugs? What do I normally do for soft drugs? I think I just fine people for that. Yeah, we're just going to fine them. I think that's what I do. Tess is just smoking the Mary Jane? I don't give a damn. Oy vey. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and do an auto push real quick. And then, yeah, we're going to have to give a couple people bonuses here. We're going to have to give Austin, Triple H, Jericho, Goldberg, a couple people some bonuses here. But either way, I'm going to end off some storylines. A lot of these are going to be ending. But with that being said, there he is, guys. Sting, the main event position. Not as popular as you would hope him to be. That's why everyone was mad. But there you have it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the Royal Rumble. I know I certainly enjoyed booking it. I know a lot of you seem to like when I did that with the War Games. Hopefully you guys liked it with the Royal Rumble too. I wanted to do a little bit more detail for the Royal Rumble, considering how big of a match it is. I don't know if I will do it for anything else. It's just kind of those big matches that have all those multi-men going on. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully it wasn't too long and too run along here. But either way, if you have enjoyed, please do me a favor, leave me a comment, a like, a subscribe. Share the video with your friends, your Facebooks, your Twitters, your Instagrams, your social media accounts all over the interwebs. Definitely helps out, especially the Royal Rumble. The pay-per-views seem to be always do the best, so greatly be appreciated. Help your boy out. Anyway, my name's been OMG, WTF, LOL to WBRB. I will see you guys for Monday Night Raw as we continue on the road to WrestleMania and we book up to No Way Out. So until then, I will see you guys later.